The NFC runs through Philadelphia, baby. That's right. The Eagles are the number 1 seed. We knew that already, but now we know the full brackets. We're gonna break that down today. Sixers, red hot still. We got that on the agenda. The Phillies are not done yet. We've got a jam-packed show and only 60 minutes to cover it all. Trending in the AM starts in 30 seconds.
And Philadelphia has it. Holding gets around in front.
Oh, he's got to head to it. Set it! What a shot!
I played the outro there for some reason. I don't know what I'm doing. I must not be awake this morning. Outro played for the intro, but we're live here on DSM Media with Trending in the AM. What a great way to start the show out, playing the outro before the show even started. I am your host, Phil Stifle. Welcome to Trending in the AM on DSM Media. Like I said, make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button on all social media platforms. And I put out a little plea yesterday, get us over that 700 mark. Guess what? Not only did we get over the 700, we got to 706. That doesn't mean anything. Now it just means you're going to hear me talking about 800. I want to get to 800 now. And that's what we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep pushing till we get to that 1,000 subscriber plateau, which is very important on the YouTube scale of things, the algorithms and all that. So keep sharing this show out. We greatly appreciate. I greatly appreciate the support so much. So far we've got lots going on in Philly sports today, so we've got to dive right into it. Um, I want to talk Eagles today. The NFL, well, the NFC runs through Philly. Philly does not have to play on the road again until Super Bowl. They are getting to the Super Bowl. We're gonna kind of map out, the pathways to getting to that Super Bowl. Go through the NFC Playoff Bracket. We'll look at the AFC Playoff Bracket tomorrow or Thursday, but today, Tuesday, January 10th, I want to look at the NFC Playoff Bracket and see how the Eagles are going to get there. We're going to talk about what we expect out of this Eagles team, in this bye week and going into that playoff game, not knowing their opponent just yet. How the Eagles can best be prepared for whoever it may be. Sixers play Detroit tonight. We're going to talk Sixers, of course, as we always do. They're red hot, 12 of 15, 12 out of 15 they are now, 12 and 3 in their last 15 games. So they're red hot. And they've got an opportunity to extend that red hot streak tonight and Thursday and heading out west. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to continue to dive into the Phillies. They made another move yesterday, minor move, but it just continues to show that Dave Dombrowski is not done. And I still don't think he's done. I still don't think this team is complete. So we're going to talk that as well. So let's dive into it. The Philadelphia Eagles are the 1 seed. We locked that up with the win against the Giants on Sunday. Not the prettiest of wins. We talked about it on, trending in the AM and the PM Sunday night that it wasn't pretty. But as I told my guests, my co-host on Sunday night, Mark and Jason, doesn't matter. They won. That's all that matters, in my opinion. They locked it up. They took care of the business that was at hand and necessary for them to, get the job done. Because that's all we really want. We just wanted them to win, get that 1 seat. We know they're banged up. We know what is going on, with all the struggles they faced lately. So the key was just to get it done, get the job done. And then by doing that, get that extra week to prepare, to be ready to go for the playoffs. Because that's all that matters. Being ready to go, being healthy, being confident for that playoff stretch. And the playoff stretch is here. We've got a week to figure things out. We've got a week to continue to get Jalen Hurts healthy. We've got a week to figure out the coaching, philosophies that have kind of, gotten a little jumbled up lately, with bad game plans. We've got a week of extra time to figure it out. So before we get into the brackets and who we may play, what is the most important thing this week, in your opinion, to be ready for whoever it is we face in the divisional round? Obviously, I think the number one thing is to get healthy. Obviously, Jalen Hurts needs to be healthy. Lane Johnson, we hope he's healthy, but I think we can win at least in the divisional round without Lane Johnson. I think this week, get Jalen Hurts healthy. we heard all reports coming out of different camps and different people that Jalen Hurts was hurting on Sunday. Um, there was a distinct possibility that we may have rushed Jalen Hurts back a little bit. Now, he'll never say it. He'll tough it out. He'll do what he does. His throws still looked pretty damn solid. There's plenty of zip on all his passes. There's no complaints there. But I guess you could say that there were, they held him back in the run game. They held him back in the RPO game. And it definitely, now that you're starting to hear people talk, it definitely seems like they had to hold him back more so because he wasn't ready to play. Be aggressive with an airtight game plan. Absolutely. And I think that starts this week, Joe. I think it starts this week by getting these coaches back on the right track. Nick Sirianni has given the speeches. I saw my man Brandon Dake post it yesterday that the Eagles are now 22-6 since the flower speech. The plant in the ground, the roots and the flowers, they spring out, and whatever that whole thing was, they blossom. Well, now he needs one of those speeches for for Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon. Get themselves back. I know there's a lot of talk about head coaching opportunities, and I believe both of them will be interviewing for the Houston Texas opening, which Houston, I mean, firing, Lovie Smith, we knew it was happening, but I don't know. I mean, I always say that there's no head coaching job in the NFL that you wouldn't want because there's only 32 of them. It's a rare job to get. Man, that would be a tough organization to go and take your first gig at, knowing that they've now fired 3 coaches 3 years in a row. That organization's in just such turmoil, and you're going there to get experience as a head coach, but man, it's bare bones down there in Houston. It's a complete tear down rebuild situation. But they're going to get those interview opportunities this week for Houston, and I don't want that to be a distraction for them because they've got to get their aggressiveness back. Shane Steichen's got to get back on the same page with Jalen Hurts, and I always talk about the intangibles with Jalen Hurts and how much I love him. Jalen Hurts is hurt. He's sore. He's beat up. He's not healthy. And, yesterday was everybody's day off. And what does he do? He calls Nick Sirianni. He's like, Nick, let's get Shane, you, me, in a room for 2 hours, stay on our day off, and let's just look at film. And that is the number one like check mark of wanting a leader right there. It's crazy. You know, the fact that he has a day off, he's hurt, and he's willing and ready to just dive into more work. I am not concerned and concerned at the same time. Concerned the coaches who have one foot out the door that are interviewing. I don't think that Shane Steichen and and, and Jonathan Gannon are so hot of commodities that they for sure got a job locked up. Let's look at it. Currently there's 5 openings. You've got the Texans, which they're both linked to. You have the Colts, the Broncos. Who else am I missing there? Carolina, and there's one more. I'm missing it. Cleveland? No, not Cleveland. Who's the fifth? There's a fifth team. Arizona. Um, Sean Payton is going to be in one of those situations probably. So that only leaves 4 openings. Now, there's about a dozen or two highly sought after commodities. If Jonathan Gannon is going to be your choice as a defensive minded head coach, you got Dan Quinn also that he's competing with. If you want a defensive minded head coach, there's a lot of guys that are competing for right now that are only 5 jobs. 4 if you say Sean Payton is going to go to one of them. So they know that the odds are that only one of them is going to get a job, but that's not even a set in stone. So they're using this as an opportunity to practice the interview to get their name out there. To me, it's not a concern that they got one foot out the door, that they just might be distracted this week. And this is the week you can't game plan for who you're going to play next week. You don't know who we're going to play next week. And I'm going to put this, playoff bracket up a few times throughout the show. We don't know who it's going to be. It could be the Bucks if all the number ones, all the top seeds, clinch. I know a lot of people got the Giants beating the Vikings, which means when we play the Giants again, in 2 weeks, you know, we don't know who it is. So this is the week where we should be working on, the fundamentals which have been wrong, how to get the game plan right, how to, get Jalen Hurts back healthy and in the right place, working on Jack Driscoll in case Lane Johnson can't go. These are the things you work on. Did Jonathan Gannon and the defense, fixing up, cleaning up some of the mistakes. If Avonte Maddox isn't going to go, how you're going to cover, whoever it may be in the playoffs. So while I'm not concerned that they think they have one foot out the door, I'm concerned that they might not be as focused this week as they need to be. Because I've talked about it all year. Expectations change in all sports. My expectations are no longer just making the playoffs, no longer winning the division. My expectations are a Super Bowl appearance. Now, I don't know if the Eagles can win the Super Bowl. I don't. Odds are it's going to be very tough to beat the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, whoever it is that comes out of the AFC. But you still got to get there. To me, it's a disappointment. If they're one and done in the divisional round, you know, that's a problem. It would be somewhat of a success if they win in the division and lose in the championship game, but then that storyline that Eagles always lose in the championship game comes back up, even though it's a different quarterback, coach, and regime and stuff like that. It'll always be a narrative of Philadelphia. I'm just concerned that they're not focused this week, those guys. Now, a lot of the times, these first interviews when the playoffs are still going on are remote interviews, so maybe they're not too distracted. They take a Zoom call in their office with Houston, Texans. Maybe that's all it is. So maybe it's not as big of a deal as I want to make it. But this is the week. I mean, Jalen Hurts. I mean, he can have the whole week off if he wanted. He's in there on the day off, studying, working, talking, figuring things out. That's what you want. Full focus. Plenty of time in the off season to worry about jobs, to worry about vacations, rest, and all. It's all in for Jalen Hurts. So it's very important to highlight what Jalen Hurts is doing. Excuse me for half a second. Man, thought I was over this. It's back. Can't get over it fully. Um, so anyway, what else do they need to do this week outside of getting healthy, outside of getting Jalen Hurts? Because I'm still not over the whole. Jalen Hurts was pretty hurt Sunday, and they played him. Can they add LeBlanc at this point? I don't know. I know everybody loves Strap, and I know everybody loves his personality. And I know everybody loves the fact that he's rooting. He's not playing in the NFL, and he's still wearing Eagles gear and cheering on his squad here and all. But guys, maybe on LeBlanc, he's okay. I said it when he was here last year. He's not nothing special. I'd rather roll out there with Josiah Scott, who's been here all year, been playing all year, than Cravian LeBlanc at this point. If he was as good as people think he is, he wouldn't be sitting at home right now. He wouldn't have been sitting at home, not just during the playoffs, because maybe his team didn't make it. Like he wouldn't have been sitting at home for the last 6, 8, 10. I don't even know if he was on a roster this year. I don't know if he was on even a practice squad this year. Craven LeBlanc, nice guy. Love the fandom. Love his love for Philadelphia and the Eagles. But they could do better than that, for sure. You got guys that have been here all year. You roll with what you got. You don't look at making changes now. The only change I would make at this point to the roster, Joe, would be if Aaron Sipos is not ready to play, then you might need to bring in a new punter because Kern is not the answer. The reason why the Titans, got rid of him after he'd been punting there for 10, 12, 15 years in Tennessee, and they got rid of him because he just couldn't hit a punt anymore, couldn't kick the ball anymore. And we picked him up, we brought him in, and you saw it on Sunday. I mean, a couple of 20, 30-yard punts there. Look, special teams are the smallest, most minute part of a football team, but special teams can make or break a team in the playoffs when it's one and done. There is no next week. And you try flipping field positions and stuff like that in a tight game, in a low scoring playoff game, and Brett Kern shanks a punt, it's a problem. Suppose wasn't lighting the world on fire, but he was more consistent than what we got going on with Brett Kern. So that would be the only additional move. At this point, I think that the biggest concerns are making sure you get Lane Johnson back. Even at 85%, we brought it up on Sunday night. What would you want Lane Johnson back at? If Lane Johnson's only 50%, 60%, is that better than 100% Jack Driscoll? Probably not. Is it 80% Lane Johnson? Is that where you want? That's where you draw the line if he's good to go? 85%, I don't know. Lane Johnson being back, it's important. But Jack Driscoll in the playoffs. And it also, like I said, it matters about, you know, bringing Lane Johnson back on who you play. Let's bring this playoff bracket back up here. We got 4 games this weekend, or 3 games in the NFC this weekend. I tried to find one that just had the NFC on it, so pardon that. Um, so it's kinda, you know, hard to see possibly, but you got the Cowboys against the Buccaneers. That's the first game right there. Now, if all the home teams win this weekend, then the Eagles would play the Buccaneers, and that would mean the Buccaneers beat the Cowboys. Let me tell you something. The Cowboys are not beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. Tom Brady is red hot right now. Finally starting to put it together with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. The defense is playing a little bit better. Um, this is not his swan song, so to say, Tom Brady, but it could be. So, I mean, he's going to go all out as always. Look, Dak Prescott, the Cowboys, the confidence of that team is just shattered right now. How they lost on Sunday to Washington. I would not be surprised at all. I mean, everyone. I don't even know what the lines are on these games. I haven't looked. We'll make official predictions on Friday, Football Friday's show. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys are favored or if it's a pick 'em game or like a 1-point game. But in my opinion, the Buccaneers at home against this Cowboys team with the way the teams have trended recently, the Buccaneers should be a 4 or 5-point favorite in my opinion. The Buccaneers should win that game. So that means that if the other teams win, the home games win, that means we're facing the Buccaneers. Do you need Lane Johnson against that Tampa defense? That Tampa defense came into the year highly touted. It didn't have a great season, but it's still a really strong defense. You'd want Lane Johnson out there for that, for sure. The popular upset this week is New York Giants going to Minnesota to play the Vikings. Now it's a 4 o'clock or 4:20 game or whatever time it starts at. The Giants, everybody's picking the Giants to upset the Vikings. I don't understand the disrespect for the Vikings. I get it. So KC wants a Bucks rematch. Yeah, I would love it. I think it would be a poignant, way to cement Jalen Hurts's ascension from being what he was last year to what he is now. Beat Tom Brady after they knocked us out last year. It would be a great storyline. I know the conversations on this show would be fantastic. We'd be looking back a lot. Yeah, exactly. Full circle, 100%. Now, to have that happen, though, all the home teams have to win. And honestly, I mean, I'm trending in that direction with this conversation here. I actually do believe. So we got the Bucks. I think the Bucks win possibly by double digits over the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to pack it in. They're going to need to reboot, refresh a little bit there in Dallas. Not a rebuild, but they got to get Dak more weapons. They got to figure out their offensive line, their defense. They're probably going to lose Dan Quinn. There's a lot going on in Dallas. So I think Tampa wins that possibly pretty easily. Now, the other game, the game that could kind of upset things, because we'll get back to actually Seattle, San Francisco. Look, Seattle's a great story. Geno Smith is a great story. You get rid of Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll wins without him. You'll resurrect Geno Smith's career. Geno Smith will probably get a pretty decent payday, whether it's Seattle or somewhere else this offseason. The 1 year prove it deal definitely worked in Geno's favor. But San Francisco, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, whoever's back there, that Shanahan system. Everyone talked about Jalen Hurts was a system quarterback. Well, San Francisco is a system on offense, and they got a killer defense. San Francisco is going to beat up on Seattle. I know it's a division rival. I haven't looked at how the games went this year between the two teams, but San Francisco is going to clean house with Seattle. Um, and there's just no doubt in my mind. Now, Seattle, may backdoor some touchdowns and keep it close, final score wise, but big picture, that game will be a blowout. So that leaves you with the Giants Vikings game for it to be the Tampa Bay rematch. Everybody is picking the Giants over the Vikings. Now, I know the Kirk Cousins era. I know Kirk Cousins, prime time, he's not clutch, but the guy can sling the ball. Minnesota's got a good defense. They got a great running back, possibly the best wide receiver in football. And everybody's picking the Giants and Daniel Jones. All we ever want to do is bash Daniel Jones. And now everybody thinks Daniel Jones is going to be Kirk Cousins in the wild card round of the playoffs. The Giants haven't made the playoffs in 6, 7 years. I mean, they have no weapons on offense for Daniel Jones. It's a great story this year that Brian Daboll's been able to resurrect Daniel Jones's football career. And yeah, Daniel Jones will probably be back in New York next year. on a short-term, semi-incentive laden deal, like you're gonna see Daniel Jones sign a 3-year, $60 million deal, which sounds like a lot, but quarterback terms, that's not much. There's backups making $6, $7 million a year now. Um, Daniel Jones and the Giants, while it's a great story, and Brian Daboll should get head coach of the year candidates, votes, from people. I get all that. They're not ready to win a playoff game yet. And the Vikings, they've had their ups and downs, but the records speak for themselves. I mean, you don't win that many games in a season without being somewhat good. Schedules, whatever, I don't care. The Vikings are going to beat the Giants this week. There's no doubt. Like if I could give you a theory on how Seattle upsets San Francisco. I can give you a theory on how Dallas upsets, the Bucks. But in my mind, there's no theory that I could come up with the Giants beating the Vikings this weekend. That is on the NFC side of things. I think the easiest game to pick. I know I sound crazy saying that, but what that does is, if all the home teams win, then you get KC, your Bucks rematch, the full circle for Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni and company. And I think that's the way it plays out. Now, the Giants win, or Seattle somehow found a way to upset San Francisco. Obviously, Seattle comes to town. That would be super ideal, super, super ideal. Now, if the Vikings and 49ers win, and Dallas upsets, the Bucks, then we get Dallas. I'm not scared of Dallas. Not with Jalen Hurts. Not if we're healthy. Not if we're ready to go. But I just don't see it happen. I think you get the 3 home teams win. We face Tampa Bay, and I think that's as good of a matchup. There are going to be people that pick Tampa Bay to beat the Eagles. There are that matchup against Tampa Bay. Tom Brady, with those wide receivers, they don't have the tight ends that they used to. Gronk's not there. you know, those wide receivers against our cornerbacks, that offensive line, stopping our great pass rush. Tom Brady doesn't move around. He never did, but he's even slower now. Can the pass rush get after Tom Brady? That defense. Can Jalen Hurts? You know, we remember the stories of the Bucks calling out the plays before they happened last year. That would be one of the biggest storylines. Can Jalen Hurts overcome that this year? I just think it would be the best game. It would be the toughest, honestly. If it was Seattle or New York or the Cowboys that we faced, I'd be more confident in an easy victory. But the Buccaneers will be a tough game. There's no doubt about it. But that's how I see it playing out. I think next weekend, divisional round, we're sitting here talking about Eagles, Buccaneers for a right to play for the Super Bowl opportunity. So that's how I see that playing out. I see it playing out. I don't want to sound chalky, and it's probably when I break down the AFC side tomorrow on who the Eagles are going to play. I really think it'll be Eagles versus Bucks with the Eagles winning, Vikings versus San Francisco with San Francisco winning, and yes, the 1 and 2 seed Eagles versus San Francisco for the NFC championship. I think that's how it plays out. I think that's how it goes, and I know a lot of people are going to pick San Francisco over Philly, but I really, really, truly think that Brock Purdy isn't ready to come to the link, in January for a right to the Super Bowl. And even though that defense is great, I think the Eagles and Jalen Hurts are they're ripe to come out. They're going to come out of the NFC and they are going to play for the Super Bowl. Now, I have no idea. Homer and me says they can beat any of those AFC teams. Realistic me says they're going to have trouble keeping up offensively with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, which I really think it's one of those 3 teams. We'll get into that tomorrow. I have some interesting thoughts on some of those games to go over, but Eagles NFC path is set. I think it's pretty clear there. We're going to take that off the screen there for now. So I know I would love to hear what you think. Hit me up at Bearded Knowledge on Twitter. Let me know what you think if I'm right here. It's going to be the Bucks. It's going to be all the home teams. I know there's always upsets. The upsets could happen. They're more likely to happen on the AFC side. Like I said, we'll dive into that tomorrow. But I think the upsets, if they're going to happen, are going to happen on the AFC side. I think on the NFC side, it's just going to be straight chalk. Home teams winning every game. I actually think it's going to be home team wins every game straight through the NFC Playoff Bracket. It's just going to be chalk straight through. We always know chalk doesn't always win in NCAA Madness. March Madness, but I think chalk wins in the playoffs. Last time they were the number 1 seed, the Eagles, it was 2017. We know how that worked out. So, but it all comes down to what the coaches are doing this week, what the players are doing. They were off yesterday. They're going to have walkthroughs and practices this week, more general because they can't game plan for who they're playing. We need to clean up the rust, clean up the problems this week. We need to get Lane Johnson healthy. We need to get Jalen Hurts healthy. Hell, we need to get Miles Sanders healthy. Mark said on Sunday Night Show that he really truly believes that, Miles Sanders' lack of usage is health, not the fumbles or anything else. Biggest concern for Philly besides health, it's getting the coaches, the play calling, the Shane Steichen play calling back on. Like, the defense is what the defense is. They're going to give up 1 or 2 big drives. They're going to hold a team under 20 points. We're going to get frustrated, but end of the game, end of the story. Like, if you look at it, every game, Joe, the defense, you freak out every game. I freak out every game. Why are you doing that? But then at the end of the game, like, oh, you only gave up 13 points. You only gave up 15 points, whatever it may be. So they frustrate us, but they get the job done. Offensively, though, that's where it is. The play calling on offense, Shane Steichen. I don't think Jonathan Gannon in the last couple weeks has hurt his coaching candidacy. I think Shane Steichen has. Because the play calling, even though we've had a backup quarterback 2 weeks and a injured quarterback this past week, the play calling has been very kind of weird. I don't know. Mixed match, like he didn't know what to do. So we need Shane Steichen to get back on the proper path, play calling. And my concern is, can he? Has he ever faced this kind of adversity where, hey, I call X play, it works. I call Y play, it works. Now all of a sudden, X and Y aren't working. How does he adjust? We haven't had to see him adjust when his game plan is figured out. I guess his game plan was figured out last year against Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and he wasn't able to adjust on the fly. He's got 2 weeks to figure it out. 2 weeks to get it right. But I don't think there is anything bigger concern-wise in health. I was just saying it. Lane Johnson back would be great. Jalen Hurts healthy, important, beyond belief. Miles Sanders. We need Miles Sanders back to 100%, or as close as you can. I mean, the guy had 10-plus touchdowns this year, over 1,000 yards rushing. If you believe that he's not playing because of the coaches are pissed at him because of the fumbles, that's fine. But if you believe, like others, that it's just really that knee brace and his knee is banged up and messed up, you need him healthy. You need Avonte Maddox back if you can. Especially if you're going up against the Bucs, you're going to need Avonte Maddox. You're going to need a strong slot play. If Avonte Maddox is not back against the Saints or the Bucs, you're going to be going with, the 3 safeties with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson covering the slot sometimes. Because when you got Godwin and Evans out there for the Bucs, Tom Brady's going to find the open guy every time. So health, I don't think there's anything bigger of it. You can get into the play calling as a concern, but I don't think there's anything more concerning, even close. It's one. The health is concern 1, 2, 3, and then concern 4 is Shane Steichen's play call. Concern 5, specialty, Brett Kern. But that's it, and that's why I'm so confident about this Eagles team heading into the playoffs, because there's so little that concerns me at this point, because they are that good of a team, and Jalen Hurts is that great of a leader. Again, we've heard it so many times throughout the year, the stories of the extra work he puts in, and then everybody's giving the day off, and he's like, yo, Nikki, yo, Shane, let's go watch some film. Just give me 2 hours of your time, coaches. I know you guys want the day off too. Give me 2 hours of your time. Let's just go watch some film, and let's just hash some things out. That's the definition of a leader right there. That's the definition of a guy that will not settle for anything but perfection every single Sunday. So that's my Eagles conversation for today. Again, hit me up on Twitter if you want to continue any of these conversations. We're going to take a quick break, 30 seconds here, pay a bill. Today's show is brought to you by Jen's Barber Lounge. Check out one of their 2 great locations, Fishtown and Old City, and book your appointment today. They own the craft and it shows, rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp in the Philadelphia area. Able to handle any style cut, adult or kid. Check out some of their great work right here. And we're back here trending in the AM on DSM Media. Again, live, we're resetting here on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know that you'll like, share, subscribe, follow, all those platforms. Hit the like and the subscribe button. Drop your comments on the YouTube page. I'd greatly appreciate it. We jumped 7 subscribers yesterday. I set out a plea and I only got 7. I appreciate those 7 new subscribers, but I need like 300 more of them. When we need 294 more, hit that 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. And I'm just going to keep plugging away. Just going to keep begging and asking and telling everybody, hit that subscribe button over and over again. I greatly appreciate that. As we continue, the more subscribers, it helps the YouTube algorithm, all that kind of mumbo jumbo computer stuff that I don't understand. I am Phil Stipe. Spent a little bit more time than I thought talking Eagles. We went a good 30 minutes there on Eagles talk. So it's time to transition. I got other topics I want to discuss today. Sixers tonight, Detroit home, Wells Fargo Center. They're 12-3 in their last 5 games. You're listening to one of the biggest Sixers critics there is out there right now. I've been harsh on them. The Doc Rivers malaise has set in on me for a long time. It has. My frustration with the Sixers has not been hidden at all. But I'm here to tell you that I'm ready. What did I say 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago constantly over and over again? That they frustrated me because of the lack of consistency. Well, now they're 12-3 in their last 15 games, with 2 very winnable games here at home tonight and Thursday. They've been winning games with Joel missing games. Tyrese Maxey just came back. I'm ready to tell you that I'm willing to continue to give them, okay, let's wait and see. Only matters what happens when you get to the playoffs anyway. Regular season is almost meaningless in the NBA to an extent. I'm ready to say I am pumping the brakes on the over-the-top Sixers criticisms. Now, I have criticisms that I want to bring up today. I'm going to talk about different things, how we make sure we win these winnable games that we've got ahead. We've got these 2 winnable games against Detroit tonight, OKC on Thursday. And then we go off on one of those long 5-game West Coast trips, which I don't care how good of a team you are, 5-game West Coast trips for East Coast teams, they're tough. You can play the 5 worst Western Conference teams, and it's still going to be tough to go 3-2 on that stretch. But this team is very capable of doing that. This team is very capable of going on a stretch right now where, like I said, they're 12-3 right now. They should win tonight, tomorrow, which would put them at 14-3. Then you got Utah and the Lakers. That puts you at 16-3. And then you got the Utah and the Lakers, and then you got the Clippers, Portland, Sacramento. If you go 1-2 there, 16-3, 17-5. That's a 17-5, 22-game stretch. If they go 17-5, I don't care who you play. You go on a 17-5, 22-game stretch in the NBA. That deserves a tip of the cap. That deserves the critics like me to just back off a little bit. Now, tonight's game against Detroit, Joel Embiid has been upgraded from doubtful or out or whatever to questionable. Now, ESPN doesn't have it updated like that. I read reports all over Twitter that he was updated to questionable for tonight. I'm going to trust those reports. There is a chance that Joel Embiid plays tonight. PJ Tucker has been upgraded to day-to-day. He'll probably be back. We'll get to PJ Tucker in a second. We know this team revolves around Joel Embiid. They're best when Joel Embiid's out there. But this team has figured something out with Montrezl Harrell that when he has to start in Joel Embiid's absence, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I think there's something like 6-3 or 7-3 when Joel misses a game this year. And we've seen the evolution of the backup center here behind Joel Embiid over the years. The Amir Johnson, the Al Horford, the Dwight Howard, the Andre Drummond, to the Montrezl Harrell. And I avoided saying Paul Reed's name because, look, Montrezl Harrell is the backup. If you're trying to win a title, Montrezl Harrell is the backup most night is the way to go. Now, Paul Reed can provide some energy off the bench. You can argue maybe he needs to get 2 or 3 minutes of power forward tonight to see, what he could bring. That energy sometimes off the bench is great. But when you're trying to win NBA games and win an NBA title, Montrezl Harrell starting over Paul Reed is the move. Well, playing over Paul Reed is the move because we've seen, except for the last game or 2 when PJ Tucker was out, that they started the small ball lineup and then still brought Montrezl Harrell off the bench. Montrezl Harrell the last few games has just been, you know, great. I don't even know how to describe the exact way I wanna say what Montrezl Harrell has been like. I'm gonna pull up his numbers here. Give me 1 second. Over the last few games, the last 3 games, he's averaging at 20, 17, and 19 points last 3 games. Doesn't grab a ton of rebounds, but he fights, he hustles. He had 4 blocks against Indy. Wow, that was I didn't even realize he had that many. And he's playing, let's see, minute-wise, 24, 23, 20. So he's still staying under 30 minutes. But he's giving you exactly what you need, which you don't need him to be Joel Embiid. You just need to make up some. Joel Embiid scores 33, over 33 points a game. You need someone to step up and make up some of that point. Your guards can make up some of it, but he's done his job damn well the last 3 games in Joel's absence. I think it's huge. Um, PJ Tucker, on the other hand, comes back tonight, most likely. And you got Joel out. Maybe he plays. I don't know. I almost say give him 1 extra game. It's Detroit, guys. We already beat them up once, and I know we only won by 12, but we gave up a we went bench lineup. We went, scrubs, Furkan, Daniel House. The DMPs got in with 7, 8 minutes left, and they all went -11. So we were really up 24, 25 when the game was over. So we blew them out. And we should be able to do it again today. That was on the road. Tonight's at home. We should be able to beat them. Now it's hard to beat a team 2 times in a row, but, you know, I'm not worried about that. I almost wanna say that it's smart to give Joel 1 more day, and then he's got another day of practice or off day tomorrow, and then you get him back for OKC to warm him up to get him ready for that West Coast trip because you're gonna need as close to 100% of Joel Embiid as you can get on that West Coast trip. So I'm almost likely to rest him. I don't know if they will or not, but I would strongly consider it tonight. Which that brings into the PJ Tucker conversation. That PJ Tucker will probably be back. I'm gonna say it again. I know everyone will say that when I criticize PJ Tucker, the contract, his age, what he does, that we'll see what PJ Tucker is come playoff time. I'm gonna hold y'all to it. I'm gonna hold y'all to the PJ Tucker. Look at the intangibles he brings come playoff time when we get to the playoffs. But if we're waiting till the playoffs to see who PJ Tucker is, why is he in our starting line? Why does he play the minutes that he does? Let's save him. Let's rest him. I'm not saying bench him. Let him come off the bench. There's no need to start him. When Joel comes back, whether it's tonight, Thursday night, the West Coast trip, starting Embiid, Harris, Maxey, Harden, and yes, Matisse Thybulle. And I'm letting PJ Tucker come off the bench. I'm letting PJ Tucker play 15 to 18 minutes a game. Let him bring that energy that he supposedly brings off the bench. That toughness of it. If you want to bring in PJ Tucker the last 3 minutes of a close game, the last 4 minutes of a close game, I'm okay with that. That veteran leadership, that's fine. Ugh. Sixers moved before the deadline. Dude, Joe, I've talked about this a bunch, man. I don't know. It's so confusing to me because they need help on this team, but there's no moves that they can make that make sense. I've literally gone through almost every single team with an NBA trade machine thing, the NBA trade machine on ESPN. I've gone through almost every single team outside like the Bucks and the Celtics, some of the top teams that we're not going to trade with. And I can't find a trade that works. Like I can make trades that are accepted, but are what the NBA trade machine accepts and what GMs will accept, 2 totally different things. There's no trades that work that make the Sixers better, but also make sense for the opponent. Like I came up with, I want Sadiq. You watch Detroit tonight, Joe. Sadiq Bey. I'm a huge Sadiq Bey fan. I found trades that work to get him here, get him and Alkirk here. That would help our team. But does Detroit really want our 2029 first round pick, Jaden Springer and Matisse Thybulle? Does that make Detroit's future brighter? No, because while Sadiq Bey might get traded, there's probably about 7 teams that want Sadiq Bey, and I bet you 6 of those 7 teams can offer better than Jaden Springer, a 2029 first-round pick, and whoever else, Matisse, Furkan, whoever. So that's the problem. Now, yeah, if you wanna make a big boom trade, you wanna trade, Tobias Harris and bring in another big name player, then you're gonna talk about chemistry all over again. Tobias Harris should probably not get traded. So to answer your question, they will make a move to improve the bench somehow. You'll see Furkan get traded or Daniel House or somebody on that bench, Jaden Springer maybe, to improve that bench, but they're not gonna be big deals. They're not gonna be needle mover moves made by that because there just isn't one to be made in my opinion. But I'm starting Matisse Thybulle at this point. And to answer your trade question there, if you're not gonna start playing Matisse night in and night out, 20 to 25 minutes, then just trade him. You're wasting him. He has proven that he's gotten better this year. He hasn't shot his three-point percentage has gone up a little bit, but it's more the confidence. He's still a great defender. He moves off the ball. He's the only Sixer that when somebody stands at the top of the arc with the ball, he's the only one cutting to the basket, trying to open up lanes, trying to get a cut, a backdoor cut, whatever it may be. He's the only one that does it. He's constantly in motion. He's at the last year of his deal. You gotta go all in on him. You have to go all in on Matisse Thybulle right now, or trade him now because you're just gonna lose him. You're not gonna. Some team will give if he's a restricted free agent. Some team's gonna give him some form of a contract that the Sixers aren't gonna be able to match. And why would they match a deal to a guy that they play 8 minutes a game? Again, the last game against Detroit, he played 22, 23 minutes, but 7 of them were in the mop-up duty time. Empty out the bench of the thing, back of the bench. He's playing 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 22 minutes, and 7 minutes, 13 minutes, and 22 minutes, and 3 minutes. Doc Rivers just doesn't. He's so stubborn. He wants to play these veterans. You got PJ Tucker playing all these minutes. At first this year, you had Daniel House playing all these minutes over him. Just give him consistent burn. That last game against Detroit, I didn't watch the whole game to the last second. But there was a point in that game. It was in the third quarter, and he only had 3 minutes of game action. Why? There's no need not to play him. He should be getting 10 to 12 minutes every half. He should. What he does defensively makes up for offensively his deficiencies. And he's at least making an effort to get better on offense. It's not necessarily when he's on the floor, you're four against five on offense. At least he does something. He tries. He makes an effort. And he's got the confidence to take shots now. He doesn't always make them, but he's got some confidence going at least, which is a positive. So I'm starting Matisse Thybulle. And I'm telling you, tonight, if Joel doesn't play, I'm definitely starting Matisse. I'm going Montrez, Matisse, Tobias, Maxey Harden. I love Anthony Melton just like everybody else. I love the improvement he's made in his game. His three-point shot has got so much better than we could have hoped it would have been coming into this year. But Anthony Melton needs to come off the bench. You can't be starting 3 guards. It just if you're going to do that, you're just hurting yourself. You start Matisse over him every time. I would probably go back to PJ Tucker in the starting lineup over starting Anthony Melton. I think you need him. You need him or Matisse or Tyrese Maxey, which I'm not benching Tyrese Maxey for D'Anthony Melton in the starting lineup. You need somebody that can score consistently and get their own shot off the bench, and that's Anthony Melton. I know he's got a long wingspan, but you can't have him at 6'2" and Maxey at 6'2" and James Harden at 6'5". You can't start 3 guys that small. This is not Villanova. This is not the Big East. You need guys that got more size and length. And starting Matisse over him is the right move, especially now while you're playing these weaker teams. Get these guys the minutes they deserve now to improve their confidence so that when you're going up against Boston and Milwaukee and Cleveland, they've got the confidence, they've got the rhythm going. This inconsistency with the minutes thing just drives me up a freaking wall. And it's like I said, the whole point of this conversation is that I'm ready to pump the brakes on over the top criticism and hate of the Sixers. What I'm not willing to do is turn a blind eye to mistakes that are being made and the misuse of players on this team is still going to be the thing that holds this team from the getting over the top. Team's going to be a top 4, 5 team in the East. I still think they overtake the Cavaliers and at least get to number 4. For some reason, I still don't 110% buy the Cleveland Cavaliers as a top 4 team. Um, Obviously, Boston, Brooklyn, Milwaukee. I mean, Brooklyn, they won 12 in a row. They lose a game, then they're back on another winning streak. Brooklyn is playing near perfect basketball. We'll see with Kevin Durant going down now, um, where that leads them or leaves them in the grand scheme of things. Can a Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons team hold hold fort, hold court for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it may be? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But I do think the Cavaliers come down just a tick. I think the Sixers still get that 4 seed at the home court in the first round. But then once you get to the playoffs, that's all that matters. We've already been to the playoffs how many years in a row? It's all about getting to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, maybe the NBA Finals. That's what the goal is with the Sixers team. For Joel Embiid, James Harden, that's all that matters at this point. And what's going to hold them back from that point is the misuse of players and the misuse of the minute, allocation of these players. And now's the time you fix that. It's unfortunate that we're stuck with Doc. And like I said, before the season, all season long, Doc is not going anywhere. I want him gone. I want him gone last year. I want him gone mid last year. He's not going anywhere. He's got this. This is it though. I will say it right now. I can guarantee, unless we win an NBA championship or make a deep run into the Eastern Conference Finals, and maybe lose in 6 or 7, I guarantee Doc Rivers is not here next year. And I'm not confident. The confidence level is not there that they make the Eastern Conference Final. I don't think we could beat the Bucks or the Celtics in a 7-game series. Probably not the Brooklyn Nets either, although that'd be entertaining as hell. A 7-game series against the Brooklyn Nets with Ben Simmons and all that drama that would be circulating there. He'll be gone, but we are stuck with him now. So we're just going to continue to have to bitch him because there's nothing in Doc Rivers' history that says that he's going to make any changes here. It's just going to continue to be this. I just don't understand what else. If I was Matisse, I would almost say I want to be traded out of here because Matisse cannot grow as a player unless he's given a consistent opportunity. And I think there's untapped potential there. I'm not saying he's ever going to be this scoring stud, but if you get Matisse's defense for 25 minutes a game, and Matisse can average 6 to 7 points a game, man, that's a damn good NBA player. Damn good 4th or 5th player on an NBA team. 7 points on decent shooting percentage with his top level defense. That's a good NBA player to have on a team. That's part of it. Everybody doesn't have to score 25, 30 points in the NBA. You need guys that can do other things. So that's frustrating to me. I think Detroit tonight, with Joel or without Joel, they win the game. Actually, I think what would be telling is on tonight's game what the point spread is. Let me pull that up here. They are an 11.5-point favorite. Um, yeah, Joel might be playing tonight. That line tells me they think Joel plays. I think they were only they were single digits against Detroit the other night when he was ruled out ahead of time. I think it was like 8.5, 9.5. So a couple more points favorite tonight. They win. I personally, like I said, I rest Joel one more night, give him one more day to make sure that foot or ankle is 100%. Plus, he's always got back issues. So one more game. Then you wean him back in against OKC on Thursday, and then he's ready for that West Coast trip. That being said, Sixers win tonight. Stay locked into DSM Media, like I keep saying. Like, subscribe, turn the notifications on the YouTube page because Scotty will have Sixers pregame live tonight before the Sixers game. Only on YouTube. It's not on all the other social media platforms. Pregame shows are only on YouTube. If you turn the notifications on and hit subscribe, you'll be notified when Scotty goes live with Sixers pregame live tonight. So that's that. All right, final topic of the day. Our fighting Phils, our Philadelphia Phillies World Series runner-up. Uh, you know, Obviously this weekend they made a big trade, and it is a big trade in my opinion. We kind of tapped into it a little bit at the end of Sunday night's trending in the AM and the PM. They traded Matt Beerling, Nick Maton, Danny Sands, or whatever his name is, for Gregory Soto and Cody Clemens. Now, Cody Clemens, he is what he is. He's gonna probably make the roster just because now our bench is a little weaker and he's got a lot of position flexibility, provides a smidge of pop off the bench. Plus he's got, one of the most famous pitching dads of all time in Roger Clemens. Probably makes the team. It'd be cheap. We need cheap options at this point. But what the deal does, it brings you in Gregory Soto, which was obviously a massive, massive boom to our bullpen. I know there's some that are anti this trade because the analytics say that we lost this trade because we gave up Matt Beerling and Nick Maton or Gregory Soto because their analytic values, whatever. A lot of mumbo jumbo hocus pocus BS. You gave up two replaceable players that are bench guys for an all-star closer who's going to be your fourth or fifth guy out of the bullpen, who's under team control for 4 more years. How is that not a win? Dave Dombrowski is not messing around. And they made another move yesterday, made a minor trade. They brought in this guy, Junior Marte from San Francisco, 27-year-old pitcher, under team control for a little while. He's only made last year was his first year in the bigs at 27 years old, and he did not pitch well for the Giants. 5.44 ERA. He had a 1.43 WHIP. He walked 22 guys in 48 innings, struck out 44, gave up a bunch of hits, 47 hits, and 22 walks. That's a lot of base runs, in 40 some innings. But he's a depth guy. He's a back end. He's a Brad Hand or Andrew Bellotti. And you've got this great pitching coach that has fixed so many guys, who's helped turn some guys' careers around this past year or two, here in Philly. And there's a lot of high upside with Marte. But what the Soto and the Marte deals are telling me is Dave Dombrowski is not done. Not done at all. He is all in to make sure this team gets back to the World Series. It's so hard to get to a World Series in baseball. And it's so hard to get back 2 years in a row. So they know the Mets are the Mets, and they're going to be a really good team, especially in the regular season. They might do Mets things in the playoffs and get knocked out. The Braves are still a really good team. The Cardinals, the Dodgers. You've got all these great teams in the NL. Well, Dave Dombrowski is making sure that Philly Rob Thompson, the coach, has every asset at his disposal. I mean, you look at this at the Astros World Series, series against the Phillies. They just threw fireball after fireball after fireball thrower out of that bullpen. That's important. You're going to need more strikeout pitchers in your rotation and in your bullpen now without the shift. Gregory Soto does that. This Marte guy, I mean, I don't know what his options are. He could be sent down to the minors if he's not good. Yes, we need bench bats. But Joe, and I'm not saying this is you, but a lot of people that are against the Gregory Soto trade are like, well, we lost two bench bats in Nick Maton and Matt Beerling. They're dimes a dozen. There's plenty of guys you can go out and get that can play the bench. You call up Rojas from the minors. Go Corey Dickerson, who's a free agent. Has been here before. He could platoon till Harper's back and be a bench guy. Down the rest of the season. You've got plenty of guys. Adam Duvall. There's guys out there that you can go get that can man the bench. You got Derek Hall. He can be your bench pop guy, DH occasionally, first base, whatever. Bench guys are anybody that's against the trade because we gave up two bench bats for an all-star closer are way overvaluing the importance of a bench bat. Now, especially now with the DH in play in the NL. How many times do guys really, truly pinch hit in a game? It's very minimal. As long as you're starting 9 in the lineup are healthy and hitting, bench bats are dime a dozen. They're not necessary. They're not as important or valuable as they used to be. So I think Dave Dombrowski has had an amazing offseason. Obviously, get Trey Turner and Taijuan Walker. I know I bashed to an extent the Taijuan Walker deal, but big picture, it was a great improvement for this team. I still don't think the Phillies are done. I think Dave Dombrowski still will have. I said this before, and his trick up his sleeve was going out and getting Soto. But I still think there's one more trick up his sleeve. I really do. I think there's another starting pitcher coming to Philadelphia. I know everybody wants Andrew Painter up here. Everyone thinks Andrew Painter is the answer for that 5th spot. Um, I'm still reluctant to bring up a 19-year-old kid and put him in the starting rotation of a World Series, well, the NL division, the NL crown, the NL National League champion, pennant-winning Phillies trying to defend their pennant. I don't know if I want a 19-year-old kid in the rotation. I still think that's a possibility. Obviously, everybody wanted Rafael Devers or however you say his name from Boston, but he signed a big 11-year long-term contract, so he's staying in Boston, so he's not available. I don't know what other players are available, pitchers or positional players, but I still think there's another move to be made here. The bullpen is 100 times better. No more Corey Knebel, no more Brad Hand, no more David Robertson. Maybe they trade for him again. I don't know. They seem to trade for him a lot. But now you've got and given Rob Thompson. Now he's got Jose Alvarado, Anthony Dominguez, Gregory Soto, Craig Kimbrell. You got 4 guys that can close out games for you. Plus, you still got Connor Brogdon, who I have high expectations to continue his strong playoff appearances and parlay that into a good season this upcoming year. And I think he's got really nasty stuff. He could be a really good pitcher out of the bullpen for the Phillies. He could be a really good 7th inning guy for them, night in and night out. What Dave Dombrowski has done is Sir Anthony Dominguez had health issues with his arm. So now you got 3 guys that can close behind him. Jose Alvarado has had hit or miss time in the Major League Baseball. Well, if he has a bad start to the season, you got Gregory Soto. If Gregory Soto struggles, you got Jose Alvarado. Craig Kimbrell can close games. If he doesn't have anything left in the tank, whatever. It's fine. Cut him. Because you still got Soto and Alvarado and Dominguez and Brogdon. So he's parlayed it. So every year we bring these guys in. Last year it was Brad Hand and Corey Knebel. They were the guys we brought in. We didn't know what was going on with Alvarado. We didn't know what was going on with Dominguez's arm. So you bring in Kimbrell or you bring in Knebel and Hand to be that back end of the bullpen. Well, they struggled in the roles they were put in, and we had nobody else ready to step up. And Dominguez was being held to a pitch count. Alvarado struggled the first half, and our bullpen struggled that first half of the season. Well, now you've got 4 or 5 guys that if 1 or 2 are struggling, you still have 3 other very viable candidates to pitch those 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And that's what it is. It's Dombrowski seeing weaknesses on a team, fixing those weaknesses, and then going out and getting more guys that if 1 or 2 people struggle, you're good to go. And I think that's key. I think that's super key right there. If you've got 4 starting pitchers now, so instead of having to have Andrew Painter ready, if he's not ready, you can go with Bailey Falter. Don't call me Bradley. You can go with Chris Sanchez or whoever in that 5th spot, or go out and get a 5th starter if he's not ready, or you want to be conservative with him. They just keep doing things they have a plan. This is our plan. But we also have backup plan. It's no longer, this is what we've got. That's it. We've got plan A. We got backup plan B. And in some spots, we got backup plan C. And I think that's the big thing of what Dave Dombrowski has done this offseason. He's given Rob Thompson and the fans flexibility. If one thing doesn't work out, another thing can. And I think that's, we talked about how great of an offseason Howie Roseman had that's led us to this point where we're their number 1 seed Eagles, come playoff time. Dave Dombrowski doesn't want to be the second best GM in Philadelphia. He is trying his best to put this team in the best position to succeed and contend for another World Series appearance. World Series appearance isn't even good enough now. We just made the World Series. We lost. We want to win the World Series. And he's setting this team up for that potential run. And the baseball season's a long season, whatnot. But I'm so excited. When the football playoffs get here, it's a key marker in my head. Because the Eagles are on their next playoff run. The Eagles are on their next Super Bowl run. But it also means that the Phillies pitchers and catchers report right around the corner, which is huge and important to me because I love so much about my baseball right there. So anyway, we're going to wrap up Trending the AM on DSM Media right there. I played the intro. The outro is the intro. Should I play the intro as the outro or just go right back to the outro? I don't know. Whatever. Maybe we'll do it. We'll flip-flop there. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. We'll be back tomorrow, recapping the Sixers game. We'll go into the AFC Playoff Bracket, really pick out some of the games I think could be the upsets of this weekend, and talk a little bit about that. We'll see what else happens on social media. You never know. Like, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. I am Phil Steffi, your host. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for commenting. If you're watching on replay, I will go back and check all your comments, as I always do. Make sure you subscribe. Trend the AM. Back tomorrow, as always, 8:30 a.m. Y'all have a great day.
Holding gets around in front. Joel Embiid, and Philadelphia has it.